Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to cover a topic on 3 things that fresh graduates should do to plan their careers today. My name is Sonia Lau. I focus on the recruitment of the master degree programs in ESSEC. Majority of the fresh graduates, basically the programs that is designed for fresh graduates or the pre-experience programs. Let me give you a very quick introduction about ESSEC if you have not heard about us. We are a French business school that is no longer only French, but with multiple locations, a few of them in France, in Cergy, which is a suburb of Paris, in La de France, one in Morocco and one in Singapore. So the programs that we cover today, they are the English taught programs, available mostly in the Cergy campus, our main location, as well as the Singapore campus. So if you have not heard about ESSEC or you have not done a lot of research yet, I would like to introduce a number of our alumni. Many of them are, these are the ones that are more senior, more successful in their career, that has climbed the career ladder in many of the international companies that you may have heard. So obviously, one of the newest CEO of L'Oreal, it's one of the graduate of the MIM program, and many of the other ones that you may find the company very familiar. And I'll leave that to you to do some LinkedIn research if you're interested to find out more. What makes ESSEC special? I would say ESSEC follows a practice or a method for learning by doing. When students come to us, they are not only learning about the case studies or the classroom setting, but also they will be working directly with many of the company partners that we have. So this is a highlight or a picture of who we are working with in Singapore, because we're based here. So I want to showcase that the companies that we have on campus working directly with our students. So this happens across any or many programs. Obviously, it doesn't matter which master degree you choose. In any particular specialization, you always will have a chance to work very closely on particular projects in a specific topic with different companies. So for the management program, for example, we have Decathlon, we have SocGen, we have Grab. In the marketing program, you'll find a number of luxury brands, because one of the specialization is luxury brand management, and also plainly digital marketing. So we have Montblanc, we have Johnson & Johnson. For the strategy program, this is a bit more unique because the students do a very long consulting project. It's actually 7 months long. They work also with some of the brands that you see in other programs, but they work on basically in parallel to their curriculum. They work on this project pretty much throughout the entire journey of the SMIC program. So learning by doing, and on top of that, of course, there are other things that will happen throughout the program. I'm going to a bit more details later on, but to give you an overview or to give you an idea, usually all the specialized programs, they are very intensive. So typically they are between 8 to 10 months long that students will be spending with us, either in Singapore or in Cergy. And then you have all your classes, and then on top of that you have different business cases, seminars, competitions, bootcamp, and a lot of time you have internships as well. So internship is usually a mandatory requirement in order to complete the master degree. You can also opt for other experiences. If you join the Master in Management program, for example, there's apprenticeship, There are other things that can make your exciting or make your student experience more exciting. So today I basically picked 3 of the programs to deep dive a little bit to give you an idea on what the curriculum is like. If you're considering something different other than these 3, obviously you can catch another session this week, or you can actually reach out directly to me. My contact information is available. You can drop me a message either on LinkedIn or WhatsApp if you want to talk more about your profile or the application itself. So Master in Finance, it's one of the more older program that we have in ESSEC. It started in the 80s and is already accredited by the Ministry of Finance as an M2 master program. Currently on the Financial Times ranking is ranked number 4 in the world. It has been in top 5 for a number of years. So similar to other master degree that ESSEC has, basically it is very recognized in the industry, and students have a very strong career progression after the program. So if you're looking at ROI, return on investment, the time that you spend in the program versus, the career opportunity or the career prospect that you will be able to get afterwards is one of the highest program. There are 3 tracks available. I'm going to talk more about the curriculum, but basically for students who choose Master in Finance, you have to pick one of the tracks once you join the program. So there are 3 of them: corporate finance, financial markets, fintech, and analytics. There is an option to do a dual degree with UC Berkeley College of Engineering. So basically what that means is if students after Master in Finance in ESSEC, they would like to continue with a second master degree, there is a dual degree set up. However, the application would require students to use your current ESSEC GPA as well as your GRE score. So in case you're interested, there is another application, while you are while you're studying in ESSEC. The program is available in Singapore and in France. Basically, the curriculum is very similar. The main difference for this is the fintech track is only available in Singapore. So if you would like to spend time in both campus, let's say you choose corporate finance or the financial market track, you can switch. You can switch and start. Basically, you can start in Singapore and then you can rotate, or vice versa. During the Christmas winter holiday, that's the time that students will relocate. So for the first 4 months, it will be the first campus, and then if you would like to do the change, then around December, end of December, early January, that's the time that you will move, and then start the second semester in the new campus. Obviously, that is an optional experience. So depending if you are thinking, what are your priorities? If you're thinking about, you really feel strongly about having a career in a particular region, then obviously maybe you don't want to change. You can just spend the entire program in Singapore or in France. But it's always optional. So if you would like to have that experience, study in both continent, then you're welcome to change. The program is taught in English entirely, so you don't have to speak French when applying to a French school. So obviously everything that we cover today is taught in English. So as long as you speak English fluently, studying in an undergraduate degree that is taught in English, or you have done the English standardized tests like IELTS or TOEFL, then you can apply to ESSEC submission. There are two tracks available. One is a 1 year, one is a 2-year track. So it depends on your undergraduate background. If you have a 3-year degree or 4-year degree, you can apply to either the 1 year or the 2-year track. Like what I said earlier, internship is always part of the curriculum. So you will have to complete either a 4 to 6 months internship or an academic dissertation to graduate from the program. There's also an international study trip, like many of the other programs. Usually we like to bring students outside of the campus from the city that we are living. So if you're in Singapore, a lot of times students will go to Hong Kong or other region. So for the finance program, they focus on all the financial hub. There are 2 trips in total. One is in the fall, one is in the spring. So the fall is either London or Singapore. And then the spring trip will be either New York or Hong Kong. Usually it's about a week of company visits and alumni networking events. So if you look at our graduates, many of them are working in these 4 big cities where the most of the financial jobs are based, basically. And one of the last highlight of the program, of the Master in Finance program, is we are a CFA partner. So the curriculum is quite similar. In a way, Master in Finance students will be able to, actually they can apply for a scholarship to help them complete the CFA exams. So there are 3 levels in total. So it depends on where you are. If you haven't done any, you can apply and take a CFA level 1. Or if you have already done CFA level 1 or 2, you can apply to level 3 during or after the program. So this is a quick view of the curriculum for the finance program. Like what I just mentioned, basically to put it in table. It is a very intensive program. So usually by October, students will need to know, which particular track they are opting for. But the interesting, or one of the best part about this is actually all courses will be available to the students. By choosing your core track, you are required to take all the core courses. However, you can always take other subjects as your electives. So you can take as many as you like, as long as it fits in your schedule. I have a number of our students, previous students, alumni as examples. So to give you some idea about your a fellow ESSEC student's journey, Siva is a graduate in 2018. He did the Master in Finance program in Singapore. When he came to ESSEC, he has about 2 years of work experience. He did his entire curriculum in the Singapore campus. One of the reasons he joined ESSEC was because he wanted to relocate. So Siva took chance, or he maximized his study trip in Hong Kong. And during that time, he did a lot of coffee chats and met a lot of alumni in the city. So he actually landed his first a series of interviews with City, with Stanchart. And right after he come back from the trip, he secured a full-time job offer to relocate to Hong Kong. So that is Master in Finance in a very quick view. I need to go faster, so I'm going to give you a much faster view on the other 2 programs that we focus today. So Master in Strategy and Management of International Business. In short, we call it SMIP. SMIP traditionally is a program that designed to help students to gain business skills, a lot of the soft skills, to change career direction. So you'll see many of them previously may not study business. Actually, for Master in Finance also. In ESSEC, there's no prerequisite. You don't have to study the same thing, or you don't even need to be a business student in order to apply to any of the master programs we have. Of course, there are certain interests that you have to have, or there are certain skill sets that you need to have. But as long as you can demonstrate that in your profile, you don't need to have academic training in that particular area. So for this program, many of the students study, for example, engineering, study law, or study something different, but they decided they don't want to have that career. So they need something to help them to make the switch. So this is a really good program for that. Like Master in Finance, there is a 1 year or 2 year track. If you look at the 1 year track, it's extremely intensive. It's only 8 months of classes. It's also available in Singapore as well as Paris. There are 3 tracks available in this program. Corporate finance, corporate strategy, consulting, as well as managing digital transformation and innovation. So it depends on which track you choose. The first 2 tracks are available in both Singapore and France. The transformation track is only available in Paris. The program is entirely taught in English. There are exchange options available in this course. So either University of South Carolina or ESSEC Africa. There's also double degree as an option. So if you choose Queen's University in Canada or the school in Mexico, you can actually receive a double degree. There are international business trip available as well. And then on top of that, there will be an internship or consulting mission during the course. And earlier, like when I talk about the companies, there is a 7 months long consulting project if you choose the Singapore campus in this particular program. And currently, SMIP is ranked number 4 worldwide on the Economist as well as the QS ranking. So this is a quick look. If you have a 3-year bachelor degree, you will have to start from year 1, master 1. If you have a 4-year degree or already a master degree, then you can start off directly in year 2, the M2 program. So this is just a quick example of the courses. So in a way, Master in Strategy and Management of International Business is quite similar to an MBA. It's a general management program. So there's a mixture of different, areas and different focus. And for you, if you're, particularly interested in certain area, usually the students will be able to specialize through the projects or the internship. So obviously it depends on the location you choose. If you choose the Singapore campus, the courses are more Asian oriented. If basically they're very similar, but for the Singapore campus, it's usually the setting is Asia based, but in France it's Western based, internationally or international based. An example of the SMIP students we have in the Singapore campus last year, Theresa. She graduated from NUS. When she joined ESSEC, she has no work experience. She joined because she wanted to become a consultant. So obviously she had many internships and she took advantage of everything that she can get her hands on to become a consultant or to get more experience. So she had different projects and internship or as well as mentorship. So mentorship is also one of the highlights of this particular program. So ESSEC student will be met with a mentor. It depends on the industry, on the area that you would like to get into. The career service team will be able to support you to match you with a mentor in that area. And the last program that I want to highlight today is Master in the MSc in Marketing Management and Digital. It is a very new program that we started in Singapore. Students sometimes ask, can I do it in France? The question is yes, but then that track is, or that particular program is taught in French. So we don't usually introduce that to international students. Unless you can speak fluent French, the marketing program is only available in Singapore. So this particular master is same as the other two, or actually not same. There's only a 1-year track available. So it's 8 months of studying. There's 2 emphases, digital marketing as well as luxury brand management. It's completely taught in English. There's 1 study trip available. And then, like other programs, internship or academic internship and professional thesis is required. We recently just got ranking of this for this program. So at the moment, this is ranked number 4 worldwide in the QS ranking, and number 1 in Asia. So a quick view, what will happen in the 8 months that you're spending on campus. Basically, there's a number of things that is happening like the other programs. There's always an underlying a management module in all ESSEC programs. So covering basic skills that a manager would need to know, like accounting, finance, leadership, negotiation. Then you have different marketing modules. So marketing, digital marketing module, luxury marketing module, and one that is focused on new trends. There's also other things that will take place. Digital marketing challenge is basically a 2-month-long project that you work with the company. So remember the slide that I was showing earlier. Then you also have design thinking workshop as well as a study trip that is outside of Singapore. Yuaning is last year's student. She joined us from NUS. She's obviously very interested in fashion and in luxury. So when she was in ESSEC, she also took place in a few different competition, and she managed to secure a management trainee position with L'Oreal right after graduation. So, well, actually before graduation. So right after her courses in ESSEC, she managed to secure the full-time position. So you can skip the internship if you have a full-time position lined up. So that's what happened with Yuaning. In her case, she's just she started working full-time as soon as she finished her courses in ESSEC. Okay, so actually I have one more highlight. We are launching a new program. So Master MSc in Sustainability Transformation. So this is a program that is only based in the Cergy campus in France. It is similar structure. So it's only a 1-year program. For this one, because of the focus is sustainability. So there are 6 different majors that is available, depends on what their interest. The students or the candidate, the applicant can choose which one they would like to specialize at the point of the application. So for example, sustainable finance or diversity, inclusiveness. So when you're applying, you can actually opt for your first or second choice. There are many cool experiences in this program. The major is basically a chair in the Master in Management program. So there are a number of companies that is already working with ESSEC previously, and the students will be joining with Master in Management students together to work with these companies or these organizations on a particular topic. So that's the majors for. And of course, there are other core courses that is required throughout the entire program. And there's a learning expedition as well as an internship in this program. So for you or for those who are interested and passionate about making change for our society, this program is basically building on that and helping students become a journalist that would be able to contribute towards those area. Okay, so you may have a good idea now about different programs, and if not, then obviously you can contact us for more information as well as looking up on our website. So all the details are there. In general, ESSEC applications are very straightforward, very similar to other business schools. The application requirements would be a CV, a motivation letter, 2 recommendations, as well as a transcript. So you can apply as long as you are in your final year of your undergraduate program. So if you are getting ready to graduate before next summer, then you can start the application now. For all ESSEC program, a GMAT or GRE would be required unless you are applying to the marketing program or the sustainability program. So for these two, the standardized test is not a requirement. The English test is required if you did not attend an English taught undergraduate program, or if you did not study in an English environment. Otherwise, this is all the requirement that you need to have. Depending on the program, some of them would require you to have an interview, some of them would not. So a rule of thumb is the application window is already open until next April. So do refer to the program website if you want to know the specific deadlines. Usually there are 4 rounds, except for the SMIC program that they have a deadline every month. A quick view on financing. So of course, if you are considering graduate study, finding out how to finance your degree is really important. So on the website, there are a number of scholarships available, and also there are other ways like a student loan or part-time jobs or apprenticeship, or your internship would be a mean to pay or to help paying for your tuition fee. So I'll leave that to you and to research on your own. Of course, do look at different deadlines. So be aware some of them would be requiring you to apply much earlier in order to meet the closing date. So definitely for example, IFO scholarship is one of them. You need to have your results before January. So for many programs, you need to apply in round 1. If you would like to find out more, of course, we encourage you to talk to our students. But today, the highlight, of course, is to talk about the 3 things that you can help maximizing your career. So I want to highlight our career service team, and it's really important that we have 2 of my colleagues here today to share some tips on this particular topic. So the ESSEC Career Service is available in both Singapore and in France. Obviously, they do many things, and they work very closely with the students as well as companies to support our students, our alumni to their career journey. So they set up, when I was looking at this number, I realized how much they do. They set up over 500 meet and greets throughout the year. And today, so let's not wait any longer. Let me introduce two of our career service team member in the Singapore campus. We have Ting Ting and Will. I'll leave them to introduce themselves and share a little bit more about what they do in ESSEC.
Sure, thank you, Sonia. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ting Ting. You can call me Ting. I basically manage two programs here at ESSEC, Asia Pacific, the Masters in Finance program, as well as the SMIT program, which pretty much branches out into consulting and strategy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Will. Welcome. I manage two programs too, just like Ting. First one is the Masters in Management, and the second one is Masters in Marketing Management and Digital. Thank you.
So I found a meme about career services. I think a lot of times is, about knowing yourself. If you ask me, if I look at what I wanted to do when I was in school, this is not something that I had in mind. And it's just always very important to understand who you are. And I think, perhaps I would let my colleagues to share more how they would, go through this with all the new students entering the program. Many of times for all the master degrees that we mentioned, these are fresh graduates. They will apply a lot of times in their final year in their bachelor degree. So they don't have a lot of work experience when they join. And sometimes they're not sure about what they want to do. So how do we help them to figure that out? A lot of things that you can do, or there's a lot of steps that you may be, going through during the journey of your program. So let's get in there. So I have a few questions that I have written down. So let me just quickly ask. I think the first one I would like to ask Ting Ting is, perhaps like what I said, not everyone has a very clear path or idea about what they want to do when they decided they want to pursue a master degree. So what do we do in ESSEC to help these people? Can you share perhaps a little bit about, the Master in Finance program, an overview of the workshops that you provide for the students when they enter the program, in highlighting, the career service in ESSEC?
So we have a series of workshops here, but part of that process would include a speaker series for both programs. And for the Masters in Finance, there would be, a few speakers, actually a lot of speakers for the Masters in Finance that we would invite throughout the different terms to come share mainly about their roles, their functions, their experiences, or even the industry. One person that I can think of is actually the CEO of Amundi, who comes yearly to come talk. So this is more for finance. And so they talk about different sectors of finance, and this helps students kind of have a gauge of what a function or role is about, and it helps them to be able to compare and contrast and understand. So from there, they can kind of also spark some kind of interest, or at least steer some form of interest towards a certain area. For the, we also do a lot of alumni sharing for the strategy program. And so in our career success stories, there will be a series in there too. This is also where we invite, alumni who are happy to share their own experiences, mainly successes from their own career stories and their journeys, as well as some personal tips on where they got to where they were today. And, some very authentic sharing, which I love as well, about some of the mistakes they may have done and what can be avoided in the future in their own journey for someone who may be thinking of embarking on something similar to where they're wanting to go. And so just off my head, right, we've got representatives from Capgemini, Benefit, which is from LVMH, Ostrom, and Wahoo Fitness. And so this is also how we try to offer like a variety of speakers from different industries as well.
Right, I think it's really important, especially, for young students, when they enter, the program, they have no idea. You never know what you want to do unless you hear from other people who have gone through that experience. So I think that is really
yes. So if I may add as well, I'm sorry, Sonia, I had forgotten to add about this part as well. Like in the strategy program, there's also like a mentoring pairing program as well, where you can opt in for this mentoring session, and we would pair you up with a mentor. They can be from an industry, they can be from different industries, but the idea here is to be able to tap into an experience of someone who has been in your position prior and would have, probably gone through some really good experiences as well, to bounce off strategies, ideas, brainstorm with you. And the last, of course, would be to also speak to us in career services.
So usually, how does that work? If someone, enter the program, do they have an idea of, perhaps a particular industry, or obviously, they should at least have some basic idea when they choose their master, but is it easy to change their mind, or is it easy, at what point they should have set, what they should focus on in terms of, that is what they want to do, or that is the jobs that they should be, applying for? Would you say, is it the earlier the better, they should know before they even start the program, or is it something that, it's okay to still, spend some time to figure that out?
So I'd say the earlier the better, but not everybody reaches that stage most of the time. And so for those who may not have, it's actually okay, because it's still pretty much a journey of discovery. Within some of the programs itself, there will be a stage where you kind of need to choose your specializations by a certain time. So before that period, it's actually good to do a lot of networking, researching, open yourself up to all these speaking engagements that we've already provided as a platform, and start getting in touch, with the speakers, connecting with the speakers, trying to get your coffee chats and trying to talk to them during these speaking engagements or after as well. That actually really helps.
Right. So let me pass the ball to Will. Can you give us some example, perhaps, in the Singapore campus, for example, like let's say locally here, what are the companies that we are involved or we are connected to, and usually, what is the process, or what is the success rate? Do you think students actually benefit from the alumni network when it comes to getting a job, or usually this is just a starting point and then they venture out on other avenues in terms of securing something afterwards?
Great question, Sonia. ESSEC, we have a very strong alumni support. Every year we have what things that alumni coming back, sharing their professional advice, sharing mistakes. Every year we have 2 sessions when we have a career fair and a postgraduate fair, where big companies like L'Oreal, LVMH, the consulting companies, Capgemini, RIM, healthcare, they will come in, they will set up shop. They will speak to the students. Even last year for COVID, we had a virtual career fair, and it was very well received by the students. We prepare the students, of course, and you spoke about how do we prepare them? How do we prepare the students for going through those different phases? I think when the cohort starts in September and October, we career services managers, we know exactly what they need. So we go in there, we explain to them the full array of services that we do. But I think what's most very important is we take it as a phase. So I would very much focus on teaching them the very important skills of networking, right? Because I think networking is a very important set of skills that the students need to have to reach out to alumni, not just from the ones that go into the campus and share, but what about those that do not? Not just Singapore, but regionally or even all over the world, in Europe back home maybe. So it's a very important phase that we educate, we empower, and then we bring in the speakers, get them to network, and then they speak to the managers, hiring people, the recruiters during the career fairs. And then come January, interesting, because most of my students will come to me and say, hey, Will, I'm not sure now. I'm not sure if this is the career I want to do. How do we, find out a bit more? So just to relate, this year, there was an interesting case where a Singaporean student came to me not knowing which side of the business in luxury she wants to go through, right? So after speaking to her, and then getting her to network with people, she landed, in a couple of interviews with a nice cosmetic brand, and then she found a permanent full-time there. So, these are the kind of things we do as a school. So we don't place them in jobs, but we want to make sure they have those skills that they carry forward even long after they graduate, right? So this is what we do in ESSEC, and this is what we are well known for. And
Right.
you asked about success rate, right? I can share only for my cohort. Last year was difficult, but we managed to hit close to 80% of internship by October, November. This year, things got a lot better. By August, both the MMDs and the MIMs, we had achieved close to about 80–90% of internship. So again, the market is always looking out for fresh bees graduates. This is where I guess ESSEC is strong at.
Right. So let me jump in here. For most of these programs, actually, an internship is part of the curriculum. So it is really important that students, secure an internship at the end of, their coursework, so they can, finish the program in time to graduate. So if you look at, a lot of times students like, what if I don't get an internship? I mean, there is always a chance. I think this is something that, of course, it's understandable to worry, but at the same time, if you look at the track record of the history of ESSEC graduates or ESSEC students, there is always if you go through what the career services design, the process, I think it is not really a worry. If I look at most students, when they join the program, the first month, they are all very worried. And then the second month, they're all very worried. And then by the end of the program, a month or two before they finish the courses, they were like, oh, I have 3 offers. I don't know which one should I choose. So it's actually very common. I think, heads up to the career service team, they do prepare the students very well. And a lot of times, if you follow through and you go out and do your networking and you prepare yourself properly, I think a lot of times there will be opportunities available. Even though during the COVID period, I still see students are able to secure roles or internships in Singapore also. So let's not jump into networking yet. I know that's something that is really important for career service, but let's backtrack a little bit and talk about, branding yourself. I think this is also very important. Before you go out and start hunting, you need to sharpen your tools, right? So how should someone start? I would say, how do you make yourself attractive, or how do you make yourself easy to eye-catching enough, for the hiring manager to look at your CV? What can you prepare if you don't have a lot of work experience? Let's say you're a fresh graduate, you just have, coursework, you just finished school, or you're still in school, you don't have a lot of internship. How do we prepare ourselves and make sure our CV is attractive? So should we start with Ting again, lady first? So perhaps you can tell us a little bit of, what career service would advise helping someone who is a fresh graduate in preparing a good CV.
So I always see a CV as something that a recruiter would first look at before they meet you. And most of the time, my first thing for students is always research first before you write a CV on what kind of role you want to apply into. Be very, very certain of that, because from that role, that's where you gather key skills and values that the job would require. From there, you transfer that into your CV based on your own experiences. So like for someone who doesn't have a lot of internship experiences, I would say a very targeted demonstration of skills is important. It could be from just one internship, but then you have to see if the skills that are required for the role that you want to go into is something that you may have already demonstrated, and it has to be formed or phrased in the way of an achievement statement. Don't just list what you did in a job, right? That's the most important thing. Other things that I can think of would be competitions, if you've done any competitions. So for finance, if you've done any math competitions, stock pitch competitions, these are very important because it's all relevant skills that you would have to use as perhaps, research in your internships, your credit-bearing internships, or like, as an analyst even, right? Projects in schools like case competitions, capstone projects, any crack the case kind of projects. Business projects would be very important as well because this involves a lot of strategy and involves a lot of entrepreneurial skills, and it involves a lot of problem solving skills as well. If you have done something where you might have dabbled in, creating like maybe a startup or e-commerce, you tried fashion and you try to set up your own company before, I think that's really important to put down as well. For finance students, if you have done, some kind of portfolio management yourself, wealth management for families, or done a bit of trading on your own, I think it's really important to put that down as well. It's good to be able to highlight, that you're not just talking about a passion of wanting to go into something, but that you're demonstrating that by trying it out yourself, trying different strategies, different, so you understand risk, you understand management, you understand diversity of assets, you understand timelines and things like that. So these are all interesting things to talk about, as well as your strategy of investing also. And I think the last thing that I can think of would be any vacation jobs that would be a good story to tell, right? So one story that sticks actually was a student who did a summer vacation, and it's at like a scrap it's like a scrap kind of junkyard where they sell scraps or parts, right, to different people for vehicles, and it was just purely selling parts. But within that span of time that he was with this vacation job, he very, very quickly recognized a gap, and he started on this business venture of putting the different parts online, and it increased sales. And there was like a huge opportunity that came in where they had to like customize certain parts as well. And he sold 75,000 euros worth of parts at the end. So these kind of very interesting experiences would make a good topic, not just on paper, but for something that you can tell and showcase, business acumen, entrepreneurial skills, being able to identify an opportunity and, be able to like write that opportunity as well.
I do completely agree. There's no right and wrong. I think it's whatever makes you unique and interesting, right? And I am a recruiter myself, and I think right now nowadays LinkedIn is also a very important and powerful tool. And to be honest, before someone look at your CV, probably the first thing they would do is to just search you on LinkedIn to have a look at who you are and your rough experience. So perhaps, Will, can you tell us a little bit of what is a good LinkedIn profile, or what is a good attractive profile that you can build on LinkedIn?
I think it's very important that, what Ting said was absolutely true about the resume. But I think consistency is very important, right? Because, today a lot of recruiters, as you said, Sonia, we will go on LinkedIn, view profiles and everything. And we want to make sure when we receive those CVs and resumes later, they all, correspond, they all, link, right? So it's very important to have consistency. But I think above everything else is to build a story, a compelling story, is to thought leaderships, how you go through your leadership in schools in NUS or all those university phases, the bachelor phases. It's all about putting the relevant skills and the competencies that you have, because you need to also know your audience. Because if you're targeting consulting, for example, you need to understand the keywords that should be in your LinkedIn profile. So all these things are core skills that we will impart. And the beauty is, if a lot of students go in there and they don't have the knowledge and everything, we have trainers to come in and to do a workshop to ensure that these students will have those relevant skills. So just quickly, in those two things that I'll talk about: build a story, a compelling one, and of course consistency, and grow your brand. Those are the two.
Right. So I think once you have your profiles and your CV ready, then of course the next thing is go out and use them. So what is the best way to start networking? And I think that is something that not everyone is very comfortable doing. Obviously, I think it takes practice, and the more you do, the easier it gets. So how would you advise someone, you know, a young professional or even a student to start networking? Perhaps, you know, thinking, is there something that you would like to share?
So very interesting question, because there's a lot of talk about networking and why you should network and what the importance of networking is. But I think the very core of networking is also to just be proactive, right? Proactiveness is something that is something that you would just have to possess. And so, like, should we have, like, you know, networking sessions when we bring our panelists in, or alumni sessions, or even like corporate sharing sessions with our very strong corporate network? It's important to be proactive in that sense to engage the speaker after, have a chat, or at least try to get a connection after for a coffee chat, right? And so I think it also does speak because most of our alumni is pretty much global, not just within Asia Pacific as well itself, but within Europe and like everywhere in the world. Another thing that they can tap into also is to have coffee chats with their external lecturers who are adjunct lecturers, but they come from industry and they would have a network of, you know, references themselves, and they have their own fair share of good experiences that they can share too. So being proactive to network and you know, look at different people, different profiles of where you aspire to be into would be a very good start. So LinkedIn is not just LinkedIn for you know, for putting through a resume. Actually, it's just a really good tool as a resource to also look at the backgrounds of people, of roles that you're aspiring to be into as a starting point.
Right. I think definitely finding something that is relevant between you and whoever you want to connect with is, I think, is the key. Obviously, it's very difficult to just cold call or message someone you completely, you know, have no idea who or she is, and to ask for a meeting. But I think that's why going to the schools or going to use the network that you have within your circle is really important. I think we actually are running out of time, but you know, let me quickly mention. So if you are interested in the 2022 intake application, the process is already started, it's already open. So feel free to schedule a call with me if you want to talk more about ESSEC. It is an important fact to know that GMAT and GRE is usually required for most of the program. If you are interested to connect with us, like what we talk about today, feel free to drop us a LinkedIn message. And don't be shy. Thanks, everyone.